This is an Icon Ministry production with the support of our ministry partners and donors.
There was a time when people used to come to Mass, not every week. Mass was only offered at a point once a year. And during this time, they would come to Mass, and they'd come very prepared, because the offertory, the time of the offertory, they would give what was best from their lives. So, for example, if someone was a farmer and he would farm strawberries, he'd bring, or she would bring the best strawberries to bring up during the time of offertory. Now, of course, the problem became when people weren't strawberry farmers, they were pig farmers. What do? They have to bring the pigs, and or when they were fishmongers or fishermen and fisherwomen or whatever it was. And they would go out and they'd bring fish. Can you imagine how smelly it was during the time of the offertory? They would go and they would bring, and then they would offer them to the deacons that were there waiting and picking up all of these things, the pigs and the strawberries and the fish, and then they would go out to the poor of the community, and they would impact the poor of the community. Now, here's the thing. The Eucharist, as we receive Jesus, it should impact us, cause us to reach out to others, especially the poor. Now, this is what happened today. The Samaritan woman, impacted by the presence of God, went to the poor in spirit, went out to the community to impact them with the gospel of Jesus. Again, this is what we do during Lent, is that we are impacted by the presence of God, and the goodness of God overflows in our life to reach out to the poor. This is where almsgiving comes in. You know, we pray, we're supposed to be praying a little bit more during Lent, we're supposed to be fasting during Lent, but also almsgiving. What are you doing to give to the poor? I think we need to be a little practical about this. One of the things that I do, and I encourage people to do, is to be a little bit practical, to plan. Like these fishermen and these strawberry givers, or whatever they were, they planned, they picked up the best, the first fruit of their life, and they planned for weeks ahead which pig, which fish they were going. Of course, you can't keep fish for weeks, but you get the point. They prepared to make sure they gave the best to the poor. They gave the best. Now, one of the ways that we can do this is, for example, to open, hear me out, an extra bank account, a small bank account called a charity account. And you can do 5%, 10%, 2%, 50% if you want, of your income, your gross income, goes into that bank account. And every month you populate, you fill a little bit more that bank account, so that you make sure that that money is your charity account, allows you to be accountable in a sense to give to the poor. It's not a savings account, it's not a tax account, it's literally to give to the poor. We need to be intentional even about giving to others, not just a one-off donation and when we see a need. It's also having an attitude of giving. Maybe this is something that you can do this Lent. Be intentional about your almsgiving. Be intentional about reaching out to the poor. Jesus himself commands us over and over and over again not to forget the poor. This is our opportunity this Lent. Let's make a difference. Let's be the hands, the feet of Jesus, especially for those who are finding it hard to find him.
This production is only made possible because of the generous support of Icon Ministry partners and donors. Please go to iconministry.com/support to make a donation.